Ooh, it's this time of the year again.
Here we are again. Yeah, hi folks.
I always
Hello,
wanted
everyone.
to do this. I always wanted to do this and always forgot. So look at this. Nice, so nice.
We have
All
confetti.
right. So yeah, hello everyone. This is our third release party of the year, 2022, 2024.3. I never get this right. It's so difficult to say. If you have questions, put them in the chat. We will try to answer them either in the chat or as we speak. Also, this is going to be recorded. But of course, we love you to be around and have this release party with us. So please stay if you can. Yeah, also you can follow our agenda. This was a last minute fix in production. Azure never makes it easy, but I think I managed to make it work again. And so, yeah, you can follow the agenda through this link and see what we're going to talk about and when it will actually happen. And also for my two colleagues here, I put our Blue Sky links in there. So to have, I don't even need to mention it. Some people just went there and we as well. So yeah, go and check it out.
So follow us all and subscribe to our channel, I think is the message you want to give there.
Yeah, and subscribe to me.
We're still in the other place as well, though.
We're still there as well. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I will start it off with announcing pretty much that there's nothing that I can already show yet, but a bit later. But of course, we added .NET 9 support. And I also want to celebrate this once more because this has been a huge milestone for our whole team, especially I would say for the development team, to bring this release on day zero, pretty much. If you count from the moment that .NET 9 was available to the moment that we published our release, it wasn't even 24 hours. So yeah, big achievement. Kudos to the whole team. And I hope all of you who are using Rider love that. Yeah, I love that, certainly. And I think the next one then on my list is Martin with Windows Forms Designer.
Beware, everyone, this is going to be in the light theme. Yes, there you go. So speaking of .NET 9, actually since .NET 6, there has been this notion of being able to use Windows Forms with .NET Core. So here I'm running .NET 9 on my Windows machine with .NET Core. And I know a lot of people have been asking for it, but we now added support for Windows Forms in .NET Core. So if I add a new form there, I can do that. Jump into the designer once everything indexes. Yes, go into the designer. And then also make use of the toolbox there. Use project components. If I want to add, let's say, a button, I can add that button there. This is a very small button. Call this one hello, and that's it. So you get a nice designer. You can run things from within Rider as well. Now, if you speak about Windows Forms, the next question usually is going to be about custom controls and third-party vendors and so on. I will say the Windows Forms support for .NET Core or for the new .NET in .NET 9 is still not where we want it to be. So you will see that there's support for a lot of third-party controls. So for example, if you're using DevExpress, you will see that you can actually open up, if it opens. That's disappointing. Okay, yeah, as you can see, it doesn't always yet work, but you will see that with DevExpress components, for example, usually this will work, and some other component vendors might work as well. I think it's because I'm using a trial and I haven't yet reloaded things. Let's try this one more time. Yes, there we go. So there you go. Also here, I can work with components from DevExpress here, or use any third-party control vendor that you may want to add. For those of you who are using VB.NET and Windows Forms in .NET Core, I'm sorry to disappoint you. We currently only have support for C#. But still, I think this is a major milestone. A lot of people have been asking for this, so I do hope that you will all enjoy this. And that's it. Back to you, Matthias.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Can I ask you of one favor? Can you click the big red button on our agenda every time I move on to the next topic?
I can do that. Are you going to do it this time, or shall I?
This time I just did it. Yeah. So next topic is freeze threads. Yeah, I have some setup difficulty. That's why it's overlapping, and yeah, it's just one big red button. But I also have to bring up my screen. Oh yeah. Okay. Now there we are. Okay. So another key feature that we delivered is the ability to freeze threads, and I made a very, very, cheap example here where I'm just starting two tasks and one is printing A, the other one is printing B. And when we run this, then we can see each of those will print something. But once we set a breakpoint here to get the debugger attached, then we can move on to the tasks or tab here. And then just any that we want, we can right click and say to freeze the thread or freeze others if we just want to debug into that particular thread. But now I will just freeze the current one. And once I continue, then you will see that we only see A from here on in the console. So this thread was put to sleep. And yeah, I think that's one of the features I always missed, really much back from Visual Studio times. Now it's finally there. Okay, the next one is partial properties. So where was that? I have my big project here. Partial properties should be this, yeah. Martin, did you click the button?
I clicked the button.
Did you confirm the dialogue?
Now I did.
Now, okay, thank you. I see that. All right, for partial properties, that was a feature long awaited for .NET. I think it was postponed a couple of times even. So now you can put partial onto properties as well. Before it was only methods. And what we added here was a couple of ways to generate the counterpart. So the implementation. So for instance, from the definition, we could say, implement this property in a partial way. Then it's created, or we could also go here and type partial. Then it's suggested in the completion list. Or we can also generate code from here, then partial members, and then select it from here. That works as well. Now I will make one, cheap implementation from that, just to show you one more feature, and that is that we can go up here and also manage those partial properties. So we can change the visibility, for instance, but we can also, we can also change the type, for instance, but we can also merge them back into one. Yeah, so then the second one is removed, and we are left with only one. One of the interesting features, I'm just pointing that out, not necessarily a Rider feature, but one of the features that is made possible because of those things is, or because of partial properties, is we can now have this generated regex attribute. So go and check that out because it's generating the regex type at compile time already. The next one is the field keyword. For that,
yes,
you did.
Just answering already, yeah.
Okay, about the field keyword. So you probably remember every time a property was doing a little bit more work than just assigning things or returning things, then we had to introduce backing fields for that. Yeah, even for something as simple as adding trim or negating something. Okay, now we can use the field keyword, and Rider will happily offer that. So now you can see backing field has been removed. There's a setting, by the way. I'm doing this just by comments, but you can do this in settings to have a more, let's say, succinct form to put everything on one line. What I want to remember, folks, here is if you're converting a full code base, then make sure to go to the right, and then maybe also choose replace on the whole solution, because that makes your boss really happy, seeing how many files you have changed, and actually it was just one click. Yeah. So yeah. But this feature has also been extended in ways like, for instance, with notify property changed. So for instance, we can now use the set field change notification. You can see it again has this very succinct form. These here are all just keywords in that context. And you can also add null checks. Let's see where that is. I'm not seeing it, but maybe on the setter. Yeah, check for parameter not null. Yeah, this has also been extended here. Next topic is the log object. That's pretty much just a quick fix. Yeah, .NET, they introduced a new type specifically designed for logging, which makes everything a little bit more obvious. How is this object being used? And if you want to learn more, then I'll recommend you to check out the blog post we did about the C# support, because there are some more notes about that. Then moving on to params collection. So there's also you now also have the ability to use params on IEnumerable. As far as I remember, not much that has been changed with regards to ReSharper and Rider here, except that we support it, yeah. But I still think it's good to point out. Next topic, on to overload resolution. So here I have this example where those methods all call themselves, but we also have this attribute here which can help or can kind of instructs the compiler which method should be used in favor. And you can clearly see this from those little indicators here, and these indicators always they indicate if the method is recursive. Yeah, and you can see this once I remove those, they will change slightly here, but that is actually what this attribute is doing. So yeah, we have support for that as well. Next topic is merge switch cases. In the previous edition, we had it's kind of like extracting common code from or code repetition, so to say, but also to inform you that something really is duplicated, and really don't see it in a way that you just go there and apply the quick fix. That might even be wrong. It's just first you should really look out for things if it was supposed to be like that. And if it's really the case, then you can merge into, or in this case, just merge switch cases. Previous to last topic, operation priority. Where is that? It's right here. So there are a few instances where, yeah, the compiler isn't, or how to say, things are not as clear as they might be to you. So for instance, with this check here, that misses some parentheses, and we now help you to add them, in a more easy way without going there and doing it manually. Same here, because this is actually what we want. This should take priority, but the plus unfortunately takes priority. But now we offer this quick fix to prioritize the ternary operator at this point.
By the way, Matthias, really quick question, but I've seen this before, and I actually like the fact that you have the warnings and errors there in the editor. Which plugin is that?
It's called inline errors, and I'm always at the edge. Or is it good or not? But I need to clarify for me personally, while I'm working on things, it's very, very nice, and I will keep it. For the presentation, I'm not completely sure because it has a slight lag, unfortunately. Yeah. But otherwise, it's great. You can also turn it on for warnings. Info, I guess, is a little bit too much. But yeah, very cool plugin.
Thanks.
So check it out. Okay, give me 1 second, because I just want to see. I think I didn't put myself to do not disturb. Okay, on to the next. Where is it? I forgot where. It's in code completion. Yeah, editor browsable and obsolete. This should be particularly interesting for folks in Unity, because Unity makes use of those attributes here. And what we're doing now pretty much is respecting this setting here of editor browsable never. So don't be don't be confused. I just imported static members here, but you can see that the never browsable won't be shown. And yeah, we extended our code analysis to actually consider them. Before that, again, more details in the blog post if you're interested. Okay, that brings me to F#. I would have loved to say hi to Eugene at this point, and he was very interested in joining, but this time, unfortunately, it didn't work out. Also, Khalid is as well, unfortunately, not here, so I would just go through the what's new part.
People
here.
taking vacation instead of joining the party. Come on.
I don't really understand it. Yeah, I also offered Eugene to do it from the cockpit, but yeah. All I got was a laughing emoji. Not sure what it means. But yeah, back to F#. So I'm hoping I'm doing it justice here to the great F# support that we have. But from what I can tell from the what's new, yeah, you, the F# folks, you're now getting type hints in the editor. So all the gray little inlay hints here. And what I particularly always like is this push to hint implementation. So you can turn it off to to not be disturbed while you're writing code. But as soon as you're more about reading code, then it's pushing control, pushing a second time, but then holding it, and then those inlay hints will appear. The second thing is about code completion. So that now imports functions, values, union cases, and active patterns. And I think this is related to the second part here, where, no, I think this is related to this one, where a quick fix helps to update. No, it's not. I think it's really the second one. But yeah, it also helps with pasting code. See, I don't know much about F#. I'm completely honest. And the last is C# interop. So that should have been improved significantly as well, with force to fix various false positives. And I know the F# folks, they're very enthusiastic. So I guess anyway, you want to check out those the GitHub page for all the rest of the things that have been changed and improved. Okay, and the last one for my part, I have the very big first chunk of things here to talk about. And this is really, really, yeah, this is a nice one. Unfortunately, my writer, just let me see, because I want you to look at it in a more pleasant way. Please look away, because I'm now switching to the light theme, and then you can look back. Rider light. So let's see if it. Oh, goddamn. So yeah, there's a little bit of an issue with switching.
Dude, you just changed the editor scheme. You just changed the editor scheme, not the actual theme itself.
Yeah, good catch. Yeah,
there we go.
So that looks better. Yeah, I will take note of that problem. Let's just talk about the feature. So what we've done here is, if you remember warnings from before, from the previous versions, then you will know it was all just black text. So our developers went ahead and made a great improvement with all the tooltips around in Rider and ReSharper, where things are more editor-like in terms of colorization, etc. And I guess this makes it way more approachable to see what is actually going on here. Which overload may I want to use, and what particular argument should I now add to my invocation? Okay, I think that's it for my part. Now it's Martin's turn. Martin, I will add your screen already. Ready?
Yeah, go for it. And I clicked the button, so it's all up to date.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Cool. All right. A couple of other things. There are more really quality of life improvements that we have in Rider, but you may be familiar already with the run widget that we have here. So if you have multiple projects, you can actually run multiple projects if you want from here. Just click the run or debug button. If you want to run multiple at the same time, you can also select them in the Solution Explorer and just say, okay, I want to run multiple projects. And now we create this run configuration that runs multiple. But sometimes you just want to ad hoc start a couple of projects like your backend and frontend, or maybe this console application and the backends. So what you can do is open up the run widget there and keep the control button pressed on your keyboards and simply either run or debug one or multiple of those, and it will keep the run widget open. And you can just run all of them from here. And if all goes well, I should now have all of them starting, the ones that I clicked at least. So this is pretty cool. Right, all of them do hello world because I haven't implemented my my web backend yet. All right, let's close all of those because we want to go into the next topic there. Again, small quality of life improvements. Another quality of life improvements is in to-dos. So I'm not sure if you're familiar, if you hit Shift and you search for to-do, you will find that there's a to-do tool window that gives you all of the to-dos in your current solution, current file, based on a scope or whatever. And you will be pleased to learn that we added a small quality of life improvement where you can now also see multi-line to-do. So if you have a to-do where you have some indentation, we actually consider that as part of the to-do. So you will see that in the tool window there as well. You can click and navigate or look at the preview that is there as well. If you don't like multi-line to-dos, you can actually go into the settings, search for to-do, and simply disable the treat indented text on the following lines as part of the same to-do. Now, this wouldn't be a Rider release party if we didn't have a free tip for you to look at. So it could be that you have different styles of having to-dos in your project. So what you can do is in your to-do window, add additional patterns. So in this case, I'm only looking for the words to-do as a to-do. Maybe at some point you also want to be able to find all of the review comments that you have in codes. Well, if you do that and save, you will now see that hopefully, of course, this fails. This one should be recognized now. Let's try it again. I did add that one, right? This is how it always goes. Anyway, demo failure there, but you should be able to also see that review comment there as a to-do. What's also nice in those
maybe try remove and edit again. I mean, in the text, no, in code file. It's just a guess.
There we go.
See.
So we now have the review and also the multi-line comments. If you have multiple. We have the to-do there, and you can see all of them. Another free tip there is that in the filters, you can also add filters there and say, for example, I only want to see to-dos, or maybe I only want to see reviews. If you do this and save, you will be able to filter down the to-dos to, for example, just reviews in your entire code base, and you're good to go to only explore those. So with that, I think we're off to Matt.
Yeah, my turn. This is good. I'm going to talk about
screen. Ready?
Yep, good. This is good. Good. Have you pressed the big red button? I'm worried now. There hasn't been a progress update on the big red button. I can relax, and this is good. All right. So AI assistant stuff that I'm going to talk about just now. We've got a couple of nice things to, updated with user interface and the user experience there. You know, got a nice sort of inline prompts here, so I could say something like generate a method to report progress, and it'll go off and it'll think and it'll generate it nice and inline for me. It'll show me what's going on. I can modify that. I could say, okay, use debug.log, and it will update that. And then I should just be able to, there we go. Yeah, like that. I can just accept it and we're good to go, which is great. A couple of other things that we've got going on is the way that we're handling the context. Now, this is always very important when you're using an AI sort of chat assistant. Is it really helps to know what context is being passed through, and also to be able to manage that context as well. So if we just sort of zoom in at the bottom down here, you can see that the context we've already got here is this wave.cs file and some instructions as well. I'll come back to that. But what we can also do is, if I wanted to look at this method, for example, if I select that, then you can actually see it's added there and it's got the selection. And it's like, well, okay, I'm not interested in that selection. I can just click the X and get rid of it. I can also sort of pick some recent files that we've got there, so I could bring in ballistic projectile there, or I can use these sort of hashtags here as well to bring in something like, I think we've got a homing projectile somewhere, homing launcher, and so we can bring in files like that. So we've got a nice way of working with the context that we've got. So let's just get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. Actually, I got rid of the wrong one. I wanted to keep the instructions. So let's just. Hello. That's a good question, because I wanted to do a new chat because I wanted to keep these instructions here. This is the interesting one I wanted to do here. What we can do here, if we click the instructions, you can actually have project-wide instructions that get sent with every prompt. So I could say something here like only reply in rhyme. No, in time. That's not right. In rhyme. And now if I ask it a question here, such as how do I interpolate 2 points? It should now actually, to interpolate 2 points, you see it's linear interpolation, quite easy, which is nice. It can actually give you stuff in rhymes. And you can also see as well the attachments you've got here as well. So if you attached a file there for it to be part of the context, it would be included, and you get to see what was included as part of your context and what it's being used then to help generate the actual answer, which is pretty useful. Now, another thing you might have noticed down here as well is we've got this little drop down, and if you click that, you can now actually choose which model you use for the chat as well. So we can use GPT-4, ChatGPT, and so on. We've also got this connect button down here, so we can actually connect to a local instance of Ollama at the moment. We'll be looking to sort of extend these as time goes on, but you can sort of select that. Obviously, there's going to be information about data sharing, so you need to sort of OK that and accept that. And then if you've got a local instance running, you can test the connection, make sure it's working, and you can use that then for chat. Various other features still talk to our services to do different things. So, for example, the cloud completion, a multi-line cloud completion, that's running on our model in the cloud, but chat itself can be different providers as well. So we're looking to sort of change that as we go. So what was the next thing I was going to look at? Yeah, so I wanted to also look at some database stuff too. So we've got Rider's got great support for databases. I hope you're all using it there. If you can connect a database to Rider there, you can navigate around. You can see obviously what sort of columns there are, sorry, what tables there are in there, and all sorts of stuff. We can also get AI prompts in here as well. So it'd be like, was it query? Well, where are we going to get a list of albums and artist name, and it will go off and it'll look at what's going on there and it will generate it for me. Annoyingly, it's generated it perfectly every single time. Well, okay, here we go. Let's do that. And if we try and run that, it's going to fail and it's going to tell us that there's something wrong there. And we've got this explain with AI. So it's quite useful that it got it wrong that time. And if we do explain with AI there, it should now actually tell us that there's no such column, and it will usually prompt us with something else. So let's just fix that ourselves. Artist ID. I think it might have got the SQL dialect wrong for that. And in fact, if I just change that to be artist name, which doesn't work, let's just try running that explain with AI. And that should now give me an example of a different column to use. Every time I've ran this before, it gives me a different column. Let's say fix with AI, see what this tells us to do. Okay, well, there we go. Perfect. That fixed it properly. Yes, I do like that result finally. And it's linked it back on artist ID there. And so we can actually run that and we can see then our generated AI query based on the album title and artist name. And I think that's it actually for AI assistant stuff. And I get now to pass over to Martin, I think, isn't it?
This is a good thing. Let's do this. Actually, I have just a couple of other quality of life improvements that are there. So let me quickly close this solution. I have no idea what's on my desktop. Actually, let's skip that one. If you have multiple checkouts of the same project and you have them all open in Rider, the welcome screen will now give you this nice branch name that you can look at. But that's probably not the most interesting one.
Martin, I can also share my screen in between, so you can check the desktop.
Go for it. No. Let's just say that that this is there. I actually only have one project where this is the case, but if you have multiple checkouts of the same project, it's actually quite useful. So you can just see which branch you have open in which solution that you might have in your welcome screen there.
So the pressing questions there is we want this for other projects as well, right? Theoretically.
I would love to have that. Yes, that would be fantastic. But right now, it's only if you have like multiple checkouts. Cool. Another more interesting one is when you commit anything to source control, you have this cogwheel there where you can see that there's a couple of commit checks that you can actually have happen when you commit a code. So you can do a reformat of all of the files that you've modified, just rearrange codes, optimize imports, or actually even run full cleanup if you would like to, or a custom profile that you have there. What Rider used to do before the current release is that all of those checks ran just after you committed, and yeah, that might not always be what you want. So if you really want your codes to be cleaned up, or you want to do advanced commit checks, that might take a while, and you don't really want to have them run asynchronously after you commit. You can go to the settings now. Under commits, you can say, look, I don't want to run the advanced checks after a commit. I want to run them before I have a commit. So if you want to run tests, for example, you can do that before a commit instead of after. So it depends on how you want this to work. Cool. One last thing, and this one also will come with a free tip. One last thing is that if you search for anything, so if you search in files for, let's say, to-do, you will find your to-dos there as well. If you're searching for anything in Rider, you have the ability to search in your current solution, current project, in a specific directory, or in a given scope. So what you can do is search, again, in all places in the current solution, or, and this one is new, in all of the project files, excluding git ignored files. Now, if you do that, the result here is going to be the same. But if I go into my git ignore file and say that program.cs is a file to ignore, don't do this at home because that might break things. But if I now search for the words to do and I pick my project files excluding git ignored, for some reason, probably because it's still part of my solution, but typically you would not find those files. So actually, let's try this with a different file. If I search for secrets, there's this is a secret in my secret file in my project. If I ignore secret file, and by the way, I know why this failed with the program.cs. It is because that class or that file is already part of my Git repo. But if I now search for secrets, in projects excluding git ignored. Wow, this just broke right when I'm demoing it. Anyway, I will continue then with the free tip that we have here. So there's a couple of scopes that are predefined. What you can also do is create your own scopes. And this is super helpful if you have, for example, a front end and a back end. You can say, okay, my front end is going to be in this specific folder. So you can say this is in release party and just front end there. If I include this one in this scope, I now have a scope that is called frontend, and it will just search in that one specific project that is there. So might be useful if you didn't know about this. Here's your free tip. And that's it for me, I think. Over to the next person.
I think also with this find and fast, that's particularly great. I mean, definitely try it first. But when showing something with, let's say, where you have local secrets and you're doing a demo and you really want to make sure that this file isn't being, looked at, even not just for a millisecond or so while you're typing your search term. Okay, on to Matt, I guess, one more time.
Yep, just a quick one. This one, this is a note about remote development. So if you're not familiar with that, that is our way of being able to host everything on a remote machine. So you can have your source code, your tooling, your dependencies, your compilers, everything, even the IDE running on a remote machine. And then you can connect to it with a much more lightweight instance of the the JetBrains platform, and use it as though it was a local machine. And remote development, we've been working on it for a while. Rider has been trickier than the rest of the IDEs due to Rider's interesting architecture, but it's out of beta with this release now as well. So we're happy that we've reached the level of quality that we need to with the core feature set. And so you can actually now use Rider, running that on a remote host, and then connect to it and use it as though it was a local application. Remote development is currently Linux only, so the host has to be Linux. We are working on supporting Windows as the host, but we don't have that support just yet. But as of now, the whole thing is out of beta and is good for you to use. So short and sweet, and moving on to the next topic.
It's still you.
Is it? Oh, okay. Oh, look, I mean, it's right there as well. I should have known that. Honestly, you sure somebody doesn't want to do this one instead? All right. So game development. Okay. Fine. We'll start with the Unreal Engine. And firstly, we kind of have to talk a little bit about some of the C++ stuff that's going on there, because obviously Unreal is C++ based. A number of useful improvements there and changes. Firstly, we've done some work on performance improvements there, which is really nice to know that the memory usage that we have when we're opening up the Unreal Engine, or for that matter for Chromium when we're using ReSharper C++ here, we've managed to reduce that 20% lower for Unreal Engine, 30% for Chromium, which is fantastic. And there's a whole bunch of other sort of optimizations there. That includes reducing memory traffic as well as just the amount of memory used, because of course memory traffic leads you to more garbage collections, so you want to reduce that as well. More support for some of the C++ features that we've got there as well. So we're adding in support there for some C++ 23 type stuff, using things like type of as well there, the attributes for aligned type stuff and unions and all that good stuff there. You can find out a little bit more really by digging into the website there for ReSharper C++. Now, if we just jump back over to Unreal Engine, one of the really nice things we've added, sorry, not just Unreal Engine, but for native debugging in Rider is support for debugging child processes. Nope, that's my virtual machine. That keyboard shortcut. One of the nice things here we've got is the ability to automatically connect the debugger to child processes. You have to enable it in the options. So I'm on the debugger page here under build execution deployment debugger. We've got a checkbox here, enable child process debugging. And so every time your process that is currently being debugged, when that spawns a new process, will automatically attach the debugger. You can control this as well there. So we've got a sample settings file there. So if I just kind of save that there, we open up this file here, and there's a nice XML file, with some rules. We've got some default rules for doing things there, and some documentation then as to sort of how you can actually customize this so you can attach to the important processes. So if you spawn off a few other processes which you're not interested in, we won't sort of waste resources trying to connect to those and sort of debug those for you as well. So that's pretty useful and nifty. And what's next? Where's my list gone? Oh, no. The next step is verse support. Of course it is. So over on this one here, we've got the start of support for Verse, which is the programming language which Epic have been working on for Unreal and Unreal for Fortnite. And we've started to support this here. You can see at the moment, we've basically just got syntax highlighting, and we recognize your Verse files there, and we'll highlight those nicely. And if you kind of hover down the bottom down here, you can see we've got the Verse language server running there. We're not yet making full use of some of the features it provides. We're just at the start of this, but we'll obviously be building that as we go on. If you want to try this yourself, you need to go to the settings page for Verse. So we can see here under languages and frameworks, we've got the Verse settings file here. You need to go and find the language server, the LSP server, which ships with Fortnite. So if you go and find this, Fortnite VS Code verse.vsix, click this extract button. That'll put it into a place where Rider will pick it up. It'll sort of configure everything else for you, and then just check this enable verse LSP. and you'll be using that there now, be able to use that, and in the future we'll get syntax highlighting and completion and so on. So we're just starting out with that. That's new stuff we've got for verse support, and yeah, glad to hear how you get on with that one, really. The other feature, if I swap back over here, the other nice thing we've got is hot reloading with Live++. This is a very popular third-party tool for doing hot reloading. Unreal has a sort of an older version that's actually sort of built into the platform. Live++ is a much more, the current version has got a lot more functionality and is very widely used in places. And it can provide hot reload functionality. So if you make changes to your code, you can then click a system-wide shortcut and it will work for you there. So there's some great information on this blog post, but you can do make changes such as editing your file to change a const here, use the appropriate keyboard shortcut, and then the hot reload Live++ broker will do all the magic it needs to do to make it work, and then it integrates nicely with Rider. We've worked with the people behind Live++ to actually integrate nicely with Rider. It'll refresh Rider, it'll update the debugger to make sure you're in the right place and carry on as appropriate there. There's a number of other useful features in there as well. So hot restart, hot deoptimize as well. That one's a really useful one where if you're working with optimized code, you can automatically just turn off the optimizations for the currently open file. So there's very nice sort of integration there with the system-wide hotkeys that Live++ provides. So let's move over to some Unity stuff. And one of the nice things we've done here is some debugging updates as well. So I've got a standalone application running here. And if I attach the debugger to that, this is a standalone player running compiled with IL2CPP. And one of the things that happens there is we do a lot of there's some code is stripped as it's built, but one of the things we've been able to do is bring some support for some of the features that we have for normal standalone applications, non-IL2CPP applications, and we've brought those into the debugger. So for IL2CPP apps now, we can see the current active scene, and we get to see the current game object as well. And if you open that out, we'll actually get to see the components. There's no children for that one, so if we go to agent instance and the game object here, we can see, again, we can see the different components that are attached there, and you can see all the components like you would do in the inspector itself, and you can see the attached children too, and you can sort of dive down that and sort of work your way down the hierarchy, almost like using the hierarchy in the editor and the inspector in the editor as well. It's a very useful way of being able to give you a lot more context and useful information inside the debugger for the game that you're working on, which is pretty cool. The other useful feature, let me just close that now. We've done an update which is useful if you're using the profiler. So I've been profiling some code here, and I've got a script here which is called heavy script. So if I just search for heavy, we can find that there. Now, this is code. I want to work with this code. And so what we can do now very simply is double click and we'll navigate you there. It's a very simple thing, but it's a very, very useful. Again, it's one of these quality of life improvements that makes things really useful. It'll also show you a stack trace explorer down the bottom here, which is more useful if you've got obviously a deeper core stack, and we can use that then to navigate around. So we can navigate to update to heavy scripts, or even this script run behavior update method, which is just provided by Unity itself. And so clicking around can help you navigate there as well. And now if I just quickly jump back to my what's new, Godot also has seen some improvements as well. There's been a very useful bug fixed, which works with hot reload there. So now if you're using Godot in a C# project, then you can now use hot reload there too. So you can make changes in your C# code, click the hot reload button, and those will be updated inside Godot itself. And finally, if you're using Godot 4.4 or when Godot 4.4 comes along, you'll get much better debugging now as well. So right now, if you're in the debugger with GD script, you will find that the objects you're trying to inspect don't necessarily have all the information shown for all the different properties that are there. If you're debugging inside the GD editor itself, then you get to see more information, more properties. This is now coming to Rider as well as part of Godot 4.4. So that's pretty useful there too. And I think that's it then for game dev. And we finally, I think I get to hand over to somebody else. Or is this me as well now?
Yeah, the last point would be decompiler, but you can also do this from the What's New page, I guess.
Yes, exactly. I was intending to do this one.
Anyway.
Yeah. So obviously, Rider has the decompiler built in, the .peak decompiler. You can get it standalone as well as for an application, so you don't have to have Rider running. But there's a couple of useful features being added for the decompiler inside Rider too. The IL viewer now provides you the IL code for the assembly manifest too, so you can find a whole much more useful information there if you need to go diving into the internals of your assemblies there for things like forwarded types and reference assemblies too. And then there's also support for primary constructors. So if you're going to sort of decompile some code which is using primary constructors, then we'll actually show them as primary constructors as well, rather than the desugared version of a normal class with a normal constructor. So we can actually show it in a similar kind of way to how the code would have been compiled in the first place. Now, I'd like to say this is where I get to hand over to somebody else, but I've been proved wrong the last couple of times. So what else have I forgotten?
No, you didn't forget just nothing. I was about to say...
This was it, right?
I was about to say, what a week, Captain, huh?
And it's only Wednesday.
It's only Monday.
Yes.
Only Monday. Okay, I gotta share my screen one more time, and Khalid and Rachel, if you're watching, please come back next time. It's too much. We also had Khalid had one thing for you to do, Matt. Look at this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do a Fortnite dance. Hey, some of the Fortnite dances are designed after my dances. Thank you very much. So when people do a Fortnite dance, they're doing one of my dances.
I also have some
proof of that. We will need proof.
Yeah, no.
Folks, also the chat, you have to get out your tissues. I have some bittersweet news to share. That's Martin's last release party.
Next time I will be I'll be leaving JetBrains, but next time I will be in the chats just asking questions to all of you.
So we're just going to get heckled from Martin. So instead of him helping out, he's just going to heckle. This is going to be good.
Exactly. Just going to ask random questions and really the tough ones, because I have the inside knowledge still.
He will know all the tough questions. Yeah. So it's a shame to say that Martin is leaving us, but he'll still be around, still be part of the C# community, I hope. And,
absolutely.
Still be hanging out and causing trouble with the JetBrains chat, which is nice to know.
Yes.
As ever, it has been brilliant to be working with Martin, and he always manages to deliver a great demo. And well, I don't know, is the quality of our demos going to go up or down now that Martin's leaving? What do you reckon?
This is the big question. Right?
You know what? I was kind of shocked, Martin, because you broke your streak. I think in all the release parties, all your demos have been working flawlessly. And just today, there were 2 instances.
I mean, we've had my microphone cut out at some point, and
that's not your fault. That's not your fault.
And to be fair, if a demo about to-dos breaks, well, I mean,
it's to do.
It is what you do, right?
Yeah.
Do fix demo.
Fix demo. Yeah, but we will definitely have you here if if Duendes do something, with Rider. If they're having a plugin, I'll make sure to get you invited for sure.
Are you saying we're going to have guest hosts on future release parties?
Yeah, maybe. All right, folks. The last couple slides here, as always, we're only covering a small bit. Well, in terms of Rider, probably a huge bit, or a lot of bits, but there's always something more to learn about, and I just want to recommend you to check out the What's New pages for all our products. IntelliJ IDE is built into Rider, so many of the non.NET or how to say language agnostic features. So, looking at Java, that's for sure not in Rider, but all the language agnostic things like database tools, for instance, you will also find here, and many times also VCS, version control here. Those you will find in Rider as well. Same goes for Data Grip and WebStorm. And yeah, I just want to let you know, also check out our blog. I made some references today. I remember that, because we cannot talk about everything in detail, but those give a lot of more detail in regards to certain topics. And yeah, more information, just check those out. We don't have a Blue Sky account for Rider just yet, but at least we, the folks
There
that
is
we've seen today.
Yeah, and there is JetBrains.com if you want to follow JetBrains.
JetBrains.com has a Blue Sky account already.
It does.
Yeah, exactly. Since last week somewhere.
Nice. Okay, here one more time.
Gotta love the confetti.
That was a party. Yeah, thanks you two, Martin and Matt. It's a sad one this time. Also,
it's fine. We'll get over it.
You'll get over it, and it's going to be fantastic.
Okay. Well then,
thanks for joining, everybody. See you later.
Bye, everyone.